Wedson Nyirenda, you have you were a former player with, I believe, in Changa Rangers to start with, but also Kaiser Chiefs. How did that help you when you decided to go into coaching?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, thank you, Mr. Satish, for this interview. I started playing football for Changa Rangers when I was very young, under 17 player. And I went through the able hands of a great Zambian coach, Mr. Willie Piri. May his soul rest in peace. And also the management of Mr. Patrick Inkata, and the chairmanship of Mr. Francis Temba. I think these people shaped up a lot of great players Zambia has ever produced. Talking of my elder brother Stone Nyirenda, who is in Belgium now, Benjamin Warriors, and a lot of players, the Webby Chirufias, and so on and so forth. So I got a lot. I learned a lot from Mr. Piri, Will Piri. To me, I think is my first mentor and is my first inspiration in my coaching. Then I went to Power Dynamos, where I also went through the able hands of Mr. Fred Mueller and Alex Chola, the late, and also Jim Bond. Jim Bond was the technical advisor by the time we were winning the Mandela Cup in 1991. Thereafter, I went to Kaiser Chiefs. I was also under a very, very stout coach, who is Mr. Philippe Trozier, a Frenchman who has been at the World Cup several times, and he's a winner. He coached in Africa, in West Africa, and at Kaiser Chiefs, and also South African national team. A very good coach. For me, I learned a lot of things from him. I think he's a straight man. He's a straight man, and he likes winning. We won a lot of things with him, and I think I've won a lot with the other coaches that I mentioned.
You'll correct me if I'm wrong, but Power Dynamos are the only Zambian team to have actually won an African trophy. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is the only club up to now. We won the only Mandela Cup in 1991. And thank God I was top scorer of the club, scoring 4 goals in that tournament. And apparently I joined the club when they were in quarterfinals of the same tournament in August 1991. I joined the club in 91 in August, in the middle of the season, and they were in the quarterfinals. At that time, the format was home and away knockouts up to the final. In the quarterfinal, it means that they had 6 games. So quarterfinal, 2 games, home and away. Semi-final, 2 games, home and away, and the final, home and away, 2 games. So we played a team from Burundi in the quarterfinals at home. My first game at home in the Continental, I scored 2 goals, and we won 2-0. We went to Burundi. We drew 1-1, and we qualified. We went to Burkina Faso. We won 1-0 away, and we drew at home 0-0. I did not score. Then I scored a goal in Nigeria against BCC Lions in the final. I scored. We lost 3-2, and I came to score a winner in Lusaka in the final, which was my last goal, and it was my 4th goal for that tournament, and I was the top scorer of the club. I think it is something that lives with me because it's one of the biggest trophies that I've won as a player.
The coach at the final, there has been some controversy over it. Some people say Fred Mueller was the coach. Others say it was Jim Bone. Can you clarify who was the coach in the final that won the trophy for Power Dynamos?
Yeah, I think even as players, we are a bit confused because we didn't know exactly which titles were given to the three coaches. All we knew before Jim Bone, I think came, I think Fred Miller was the head and Mr. Chola was his assistant. And we don't know exactly if Mr. Jim Bone was the technical advisor or he was the coach. Though he was hands-on, sometimes he will be on the pitch and he will be there pushing us. And Mr. Mueller will be outside, and these people coordinated themselves very well. Sometimes you could not know who is who. So I think I can leave it on that.
Well, yeah. I must press this a bit because this is extremely interesting. How is it possible that you can have three people acting, well, two people acting as a coach, one as assistant coach? Who do you listen to? If there's any disagreement between Mr. Bone and Mr. Mueller, which one do you listen to?
Yeah, I think Jim Bone was more of the active one, and Mr. Mueller also you cannot shove him off because he likes having things done. So most times Mr. Jim Bone was there on the pitch, and then before maybe Mr. Mueller will say something, and then Jim Bone will also enter into the pitch with us, and I will be conducting the trainings. But like I said, it was so confusing. We cannot know exactly who is who. But most of the times when I was there, I think Jim Bone was more on the pitch, but whilst Mr. Mueller would also conduct some of the exercises.
Both of them have claimed to be the coach in the final. Who actually is the coach? Or would you say they were really joint coaches?
Yeah, I think on this one, I can just say they were joint coaches because I can give an example. In the final, second half, I was my nose was broken by the defender of BCC Lions. I was about to go and score. I played the ball the other side behind him, and I wanted to pass the other side. So he knocked me with the elbow, and I could not see anything. I think I fainted. So outside, I could just hear something. I could hear something, but I could not see properly. There was something like an argument. Let's substitute. They wanted to substitute. This other coach wanted to substitute, but Fred Miller said, "You are not going to do this. We have to wait. This guy has to go back there." So there was some big argument outside there. The other coaches wanted me to be substituted right there and then, and we were 2-1 at that time. We were leading 2-1. And we needed a goal to win that tournament. If it ended like that, I think the other team was going to carry the day. So Mr. Mueller was just on it. He was just saying, no, we cannot substitute. We cannot substitute. This guy has to go back. Until he gets back into that pitch, we wait. So they waited. I think I was outside more than 7 minutes of the game. And after I stood up, they put some cotton wool in my nose because I was just bleeding profusely. And when after putting the cotton wool, I came to the touchline. For me to get in, the referee came to come and inspect. He just sees that the blood is still flowing. He said, "No, stay back until that blood stops coming out." So the doctors came back. They put more wool on me, the flesh wool. They caught the referee again. He saw the wool is wet with blood and the blood is dripping. So they said, now the fight was even intense because the other coaches are saying, let's substitute. Time is going. So Fred Miller said, no, we are not going to substitute. So what did Freddie do? He just came to me with fresh wool, right at the touchline. Then he called the referee when the ball went out. He called the referee, come. And whilst the referee was coming, that is when he pushed in the cotton wool into my nose. So when the referee came, he found it was clear. The blood has not yet stained the cotton wool. Then he ushered me in. And what happened? It was magical. I went in straight, and he just told me, don't leave the top position. I went in straight. The first touch I had was a goal. I scored the goal, the winner. And then he came by the line, he was celebrating, and he called me and said, Wedson, now can you come out? You have done what I wanted. I said, no, I'm okay. I had to play that last 15 minutes with some blood coming, and my whole jersey was stained with the blood. And anyway, that is how we were dying a little for our nation.
So this is where the die a little for the team comes from.
Yeah. Because we just had to carry the day on that day. All we needed was that trophy.
Now, one of the interesting things about it is that was it for Zambian football, club football. It's never won another trophy. I think closest since then was Nkana reaching the final, Zesco reaching the semi-final, but Zambian football hasn't reached those heights again. Why do you think that is, and what do you think we can do could be done about it?
Yeah, first and foremost, I think at that time at Power Dynamos, we had a very good squad. We had everything going. We had very good coaches. The facility at Power Dynamo is good, it's excellent. The training pitch, the annex pitch outside, and even the main pitch is one of the best places you can play football. We used to call it, as players, we used to call it the theater of great football. So, yeah, after our win of that trophy, we haven't seen any other team coming any closer. The closest has been the final, which Nkana came to, and also Nchanga Rangers came to, I think, quarterfinals when I was assistant coach to Mr. Kawole. We lost in Iwanyayu. I think in Iwanyayu we lost away game. So I think I must say the passion for the game is so different now. I've seen it. It's an African problem, more especially sub-Saharan region. The passion for the game has dwindled. It is now football for money. We understand it is a living that we are making out of the game. But I think if we can spice it up with a lot of passion for the game, for what we are doing as players, as coaches, then I think something will come up. Now, where did we go wrong? I think we are not emulating what the football administration, and the football players, the football coaches were doing that time. Much as I accept, now we are having more qualified coaches than even before. But what is the difference? The difference is, in coaching, I'll say the most important thing is learn to know and don't learn to qualify. First of all, learn to know and then qualify. My problem is now in the world football is about learn to qualify to be a coach. And yet you have a qualification. We are seeing people with qualification, but they cannot impart that knowledge. Meaning he has a paper, but he doesn't know. He has no knowledge. I hope you know what I mean. You see, many are coaches with a lot of high qualifications, but what can they give? They give less than what is on their paper. the paper they hold. So the best is to learn to know. Get into a classroom, learn to know. When you learn to know, it is going to be easy to explain things. My problem is a lot of coaches have that qualification, but do they know? That is where we are finding most of the coaches are, some coaches who are being called, they are good coaches. They are only good assemblers of players. They can be seen to be good coaches when there is availability of all stars of players. He can put this one and here, there, they can do what he wants. But can they coach the players from nothing to something and from something to greater heights of a player? This is where I think we have to start drawing a thin line between the differences of the coaches and the levels of the coaches. On the players,
sorry,
yes,
carry on.
On the players, so on the players, players must understand the levels of football. I have sat down and made a surgery of players. There is a player who can play at the youth. We are seeing players ticking, youth level. When you bring him to the B team of the senior, he starts looking good. When you introduce the player into the main team, he cannot perform. You have to be patient with those players. Put something into them. Give them the confidence. And after that, you will start seeing some players are slow learners, some are quick learners. So in that way, you will see that you have built something. But sometimes a player who was good in the first level, in the junior level, he just diminishes in the next level of his game. There are players who will be stars at the club. When you bring them to the national team, they are not going to tick. There is need for us to have patience on that. Now, at club level in Zambia, let's look at the teams that are winning the CAF Confederation. Let's look at the teams that are winning the Champions League, African Champions League. Then, if we are going to look at the compositions of those teams, let's look at our own recruitment of our players and the teams that are representing Zambia in those tournaments. Are they going to be equal to task? Because now, if I were a president of a club that is going to play next edition of CAF Confederation, I'll ask myself, are the players that we have equal to task against those players one-on-one, those players at Alali, Sundowns, with that Casablanca? Because those are the teams that are fighting for this. And then, how much money are they paid? Let's not talk much about money, but the players that we are luring and we want to be champions of Africa, are we at same par? These are the things we should put into consideration, or else we shall be, the best will be semi-final.
Well, Zambia lost a couple of its slots within African competition because it hadn't been doing well enough. What do you see as necessary? And I do appreciate you've partly answered this question already, but what do you think Zambian clubs need to do to both improve the quality of the Zambian league and Zambian club football, but also within the African context? Because you're not going to get those slots back until you actually perform within African football.
Yeah, I think the condition is there. It is so conspicuous. CAF wants us to perform up to the finals. So we need, what is the condition? We need our clubs to perform in CAF competitions up to finals. At least those two that will be representing us, let them go to finals. Not just first round you are out, one round you are out. It is not going to help us. So for us to hit that goal of getting to the finals, this is why I'm saying, are we luring our players, the players that we are luring into our clubs, are they at the same power as those that the teams that are winning the tournament having? So if that is not the answer, then we must look for players. If we are going to recruit a player from outside the country, let's look for a player who is coming to add value to Zambia, Zambian football, and to that club. It is not just any other Jim and Jack, just because he has crossed the border, that he can play and he's going to play for you. I believe, like I was saying about Kaiser Chiefs, I was at Kaiser Chiefs and I know what it means to be at Kaiser Chiefs. If you go to Kaiser Chiefs, South Africans will not accept you if you are not going to give 300%. As a foreign player, you must give 300%. I can tell you this. At Chiefs, I had a knock. I was supposed, that week, the same week, I was supposed to go to Leeds United with Lucas Radebe. I sustained an ankle injury, and that ankle injury took me 13 weeks to, about 11 weeks to heal. Now, before 11 weeks, it was about 8 weeks. I could feel a little bit of pain, but now I could walk properly and I could jog, but it was still paining. But what was I taught? I was told, Mister, you are a strong man. And apparently, people in South Africa think South Africa is not Africa. Zambia is Africa. They say, you people from Africa, you are very strong. Mister, you have to start playing. We are not scoring. I played the first game against, in fact, it was against the team that injured me. We were playing a second round game. I had to put on the bandage on my ankle. I put a crepe bandage, I put something else there, and I just had to play for my team. And guess what? The first game I played against the same team that injured me in the first round, I scored. We started scoring again. So this is what I'm saying. The players that we are registering from other countries, let's put a condition. Let's say he must be at least 3 caps or 5 caps from for his national team. Then we are going to add value to our clubs and to the national team, because the national team players, those players that are playing against those guys, they will get that stiff competition from a player who is giving something, giving about 300% of his game. Now, if we are just going to say every other Jim and Jack has to come, as long as it is the quota is about 6 players, 6 foreign players in each team, then we are not going anywhere. We are not going anywhere because the value is not added to our league, and it is not added to our own players who are playing against those players.
There is a player that illustrates exactly what you were talking about, Lazarus Kambole. He performed fantastically within Zambia. He was a very slow starter. He was notorious. Within Zambia, you don't get the best of Lazarus Kambole for a season or two. He has to settle in. He has to develop. But when he does develop within the team, he's going to be an asset to that team. He was never going to get that kind of patience at Kaiser Chiefs. I would say it was the wrong team for him, in that you needed a team that was going to give you some patience, hit the ground running eventually, even though that sounds a contradiction. So he's now in the position where he's not wanted at Kaizer Chiefs, probably ruined within South African football as well, gone to Tanzania, didn't get a chance in Tanzania, and has now become like a traveller, for want of a better way of putting it, in within football circles. What do you have to say to him and to other coaches? What is the future for him? Because he is still got it. You don't just lose your skill set until you get too old to demonstrate your skill set. He's not at that point. So what do you say to him? And if you had the Zambia job, would you be looking at Lazarus Kambole, or would you basically say, no, you've got to get back within your club setup, you've got to develop, and you've got to show me what you can do again?
Yeah, I think true to what you have said about Lazarus, it's very sad. I've been the saddest man because I helped the player. I think I had a hand in bringing him up to what he became. Mr. Kambole, like you said, at Kaizer Chiefs, is a club which demands so much. The least Kaizer Chiefs would do in a season is to win a trophy if they don't win the league. And for me, it is not that the player is bad. Kambole, I think he could have been a very big asset for Kaizer Chiefs, but he went to Chiefs at the wrong time. Kaizer Chiefs last won silverware, I think 8 years ago. It is not like Kaizer Chiefs. Kaizer Chiefs are the perpetual winners. Every season they must get trophy or the league, trophy or the league, or league with trophies. They are called Grammarless Club, not for nothing, but for something, because they win things. It's a huge brand. So at the time that Kambole went, it's the time when the team needs the redemption. I think he arrived at Chiefs when they were five years without a trophy. It's not like Chiefs. So the patience from the fan base of Kaizer Chiefs was not there. Up to now, it is not there. They haven't won anything. So the case of a coach, the case of a player to be at Kaizer Chiefs, you must be a thick-skinned player or coach. You must be a strong mentally to go to Kaizer Chiefs now. Or else, if you are not that person, then you are going to lose it, because the pressure is just too high at Chiefs. Even when we were winning things at Kaizer Chiefs, you lose one game, there is a bit of fire, because the base is just huge and everyone expects everything for themselves. They have the rivals, which are Orlando Pirates, and they are Soweto rivals there. So they compete highly. The competition is just too high. So all they look for is win, win, win every time. They want to win. So at the time that Kambole went there, I think for me, it is just bad timing. Not that he cannot play. He is a good player. He could have fit in if he went into the club when things were not so bad. Now, you said if I was a coach for national team, and I think, yeah, he's still young. Kambole is still young, and he still has it. He just have to have his acts come together and work hard. He is one of the most disciplined players I've ever seen. I think I gave him the first call up in my time in the Chan tournament, and that is where he shone. He shone, and he showed that he was a great player. From there, I think that is where even Kaizer Chiefs started courting him, and eventually he left for Chiefs. if he can find a club that will accept him now, for me, I think he can do better. All he has to do is take himself out of denial. Sometimes you accept that things are not okay with me now. Let me start afresh. You just humble yourself, take the egos out, and then he will be okay. I think we still have something for him.
What sort of club do you think he would need to go to in order to rediscover who he was in football terms and become that player again?
Yeah, I think back home, if he can go home, he say he wants to go home. If he plays for Zesco, again, I think he can recapture his form. And if he goes back to South Africa, I think for me, a team like a club like Cape Town City, a club like SuperSport, I think those clubs can do something with him. He can get better.
Unfortunately for Zambian football, recently Enoch Mwepu, the computer, had to retire from football. What role do you see Mwepu having within Zambian football now? If you were in charge or you were at a club or even the national team coach, how would you integrate Mwepu into your structure, if indeed you would?
It is so unfortunate for our nation to lose a great star like him. I have worked with Enoch at youth level, under 20, when we were winning the COSAFA and the AFCON in that year at home. He is a player who adapts to situations. He adapts to any system. He adapts to everything in a very short time. A very intelligent boy, very, very disciplined player. That's why I was not even shocked when I was not surprised when I saw him putting on that band, captain band for the national team. But unfortunately, that is a natural, for me, it can be a natural disaster to us, losing the captain in such a way. But I think for me, I would encourage the young man with his intelligence to do do great coaches, coaching coaches courses in Europe where he is, and get some higher level badges so that he can come back and help us. I think also he should also do the admin courses because he's a very intelligent young man. He's done well at school, and he can also, in future, we need people like him to come and run our game in football. So we can have him in the coaching fraternity in future when he gets the badges.
Well, wouldn't it be an investment for Zambian football to look at him and say he had all the great qualities of a player, he had all the qualities of a leader, he'd make a fantastic coach if we give him the chance. So why don't we invest in our future and make it available to him to go and get the coaching badges that are required, if indeed he wants to coach, and bring him into the Zambian setup? Essentially say, we will pay for you to do your coaching badges, but in return, you have to give us 3 or 5 years service within Zambian football. That can be anywhere within it. It can be in the regions, it can be in the national team, it can be in the youth teams, but that is what we want. And we want you to pass on your coaching skills that we are helping you to get. Does that sound like a plan for Zambian football to go forward?
Yeah, I think that plan is already underway, except I don't know exactly about Mwepu's situation. First of all, the Football Association of Zambia is doing a great deal in terms of coaching capacity building. Already, I am one of those coaches who is about to do the CAF A license in Morocco. We were supposed to go last month in December. We were supposed to go for a few days just for internship, but something came up, and we are told that starting next year, at the beginning of next year, that course will take place. So the association is doing a lot in terms of the capacity building. It's not only me. They have lined up a few names of coaches who are supposed to go and do the courses there, the CAF A and the other badges. Now, to bring in Mwepu would be something very special, and it will be good for the nation, looking at the circumstances that we have been fallen with. If the young man can also be assisted by the government and the association to go and do the badges, I think it will be the best for us. When he comes back, he will come and help us. He's a Zambian. He's been fighting for Zambia. He's a patriotic Zambian. And I think that will be the best that we can do.
Now, Zambia hasn't delivered on the international stage to its capabilities and its abilities. It didn't move on from winning the 2017 AFCON under-20s, and also the under-20 World Cup. It had the possibility. It was bringing these players in. You had a golden generation in that under-20 team of 2017. Why do you think it hasn't worked within the the full national team setup?
Yeah, I think I was with the team in 2017. I was with the national team. I was the national coach, and one of my duties was to work on all the youth teams, which we did well. And the under-20 won the COSAFA, like I said, and in the same year we won the AFCON. Now, from there, my program was to start fusing in the young players into the senior team, whilst slowly phasing out the older players. But we didn't want to take out everyone at a go, because you need the pillars in the team, which we did. So we saw a bigger number of the young players from the under-20 taking positions in the big team, and that is the time when we started now playing. We were in the World Cup qualifiers, and we played Cameroon, we played Nigeria, we played Algeria in our group. It was a group of death, and we were not given any chance. If I remember very well, everyone was saying, we are out, we cannot even go anywhere. But we mounted a lot of pressure on those teams, such that we had to beat Algeria twice in 3 days. We beat them at home 3-1, and we went away. We beat them in Constantine 1-0. And we were on the path to the World Cup until we lost to Nigeria in a very dramatic way. The referee from Botswana did his own. I think we cannot talk much about it. So we saw that generation, the golden generation, coming into the fold. And I thought, now we are on the cruising level, because the last game we played against Cameroon at home, people have labeled that one when Zambia became Barcelona, because we played a fantastic game, and everyone could see. Apparently, I was watching Cameroon beat Brazil, and I said, what is wrong with us? Because this is the team that we were toying around with like young boys. We outplayed them in Ndola. We outplayed them in their home in Cameroon. In what is that place? In Limbe.
Yaoundé?
No, we played in Limbe. We drew
Limbe.
1-1. Yeah, we scored first and they were given a penalty. And that is the same team that we played. And we were on top of them, away and home. But Cameroon is still intact. It has gone to the World Cup. They managed to beat the world number one, Brazil. So if the same team that I had at that time was maintained up to now, I think Zambia could have been somewhere. Could have been somewhere. We could have been there at Qatar 22.
Well, that leads on to the next sort of issue, which is, why did you leave Zambia in the first place from your stay? You were just getting through. You were developing the team. They were doing well. They hadn't sort of gone to absolutely to the next stage, but the potential was there. So why did you choose to leave then?
I think circumstances beyond my control came in, and I had also some family problems. My mother was very ill, and I needed to sort out the bills and other things. So I think I had some problems here and there with the payments and other things. So I had to find a place where I can get something. And I can't talk about other things on the air. I think that were hurting me, but that put aside, it is part of my job for my nation. If it was just another nation, I could have left earlier. But it is my nation. I had to fight. I had to fight on. I'm a soldier for the nation. I'm a national trophy. I have to fight for Zambia.
Why, given your previous experiences as coach of Zambia, did you decide that you wanted the Chipolopolo job again?
Because I'm Zambian and I want to help my nation. I want to help my nation. I know when you know that your hand is needed and you are capable, I think the right thing for you to do is you just have to go back. Most of the Zambians have spoken. They need me. So if they need me, I think, why should I say no? I just have to humble myself and go back. I have no issues with my nation. I have no issues with my football session. And some people have been insinuating that, no, I have a sour relationship with the football session in Zambia. Far from it, far from it. I do not have any issues with the president. I have no issues with any member of that committee. I have no issues with any taken command. I'm a very peaceful man. I always follow football. It is all about football. You know, for me, if I differ with you in principle, I'm not going to differ with you personally. That is who I am. If something, I differ with you in terms of, no, we should have done this, we should have done this. It will not come to the personal part of us. For me, it is just that if we correct it, I move on. We just move on. That is all I am about.
You well, in this current situation where Zambia is looking for a new coach, 100 people, I believe, tried to get the job. And there were some of them who you look at and say, well, why? For example, the current coach of the Republic of Congo, and let's make this clear, I'm talking about the country that used to be Congo Brazzaville, not the Democratic Republic of Congo, is a man named Paul Putt. Years and years ago, he was found guilty of match fixing. He endured a ban for it. Well, not endured a ban. He was banned from football in Belgium because of it. He also was convicted in a Belgian court in relation to that, but he keeps getting jobs within African football. What do you think of that, and what it means for African football that somebody like him gets opportunities, but young African coaches, even African origin coaches from within Europe, do not get the opportunities within Africa, I mean?
Yeah, I think we can do better than that. First and foremost, yeah, he might have made big mistakes in life, but I believe the only word here is integrity. Let's have integrity with our own nations. Let's have integrity with our own clubs at club levels, and see. Some people cannot enter any association because we are following the FIFA ethics, whatever, ethics levels. So if we are compromising on our own recruitments, then I don't know what we want. It is not for me to judge anyone. Yes, he had made mistakes. If they want, they can recruit those people. But what is it doing to our own and our own game? Are we being fair to ourselves? If a clean man, very clean man in Africa, doing greater exploits like Pizzo, like Cisse, coaches like me, coaches like Ibenge, cannot be given a chance to coach in Europe, even when they are very clean. They are peaceful people. They know the game. But we are not talking about racism here. We are talking about giving people the chances that they be fit to have. So if us cannot be given in Europe, even when we can do, why should we give people who have a soiled background? If a person comes to Africa, is well vested in the game, is experienced, we have also to check on the discipline. What are we bringing in? What are we trying to achieve with these people? So as for me, I think that is my take.
Well, that's partly my point, because he has this record, and while having this record and coach of another country, he applies for the job of the coach of Zambia. I can't believe he had told the Congolese Federation that he was going to do that. What do you think that says? One, about the respect that he has for his current employers, the Republic of Congo, and two, whether if he had been given a chance, which the Zambian Federation wasn't interested in him, but if he had been given a chance, could you rely on such a person?
It's not easy. It's not easy. I think there's also the question of stability in the setup. You ask yourselves, are we going to be stable if we have this person come in? If he can live where he is at this time and whatever. So those are the questions that we should ask ourselves. I think most of all, I think, like I said, is just for us to look at the background of somebody. That is why there are resumes. We look at the resume of the person, and we also do the research. Let's just do the research and see, does he fit into our program? Does he fit into our project? What kind of project do we have? I think national team project is a 4-year project. And then if somebody is not going to come and then tomorrow he says he's just leaving just like that without anything, then we don't know.
Also included in the 100 people who applied for it. I mean, Paul Putt never even had a remote chance. The Zambian Federation wasn't interested. And he actually applied for the job before it was advertised. But we'll move on from that. There were two people who are of great interest to me. One is Sebastian Nunez. So let's start with him. He was in the 10 or 11, if you include Gernot Raw, that were shortlisted for the last stage before the final three. But at the time he applied, he was an assistant coach with Cameroon at the World Cup. Should that have been tolerated?
I'm not going to judge him. I think it is for him to, he knows why he did that. It's not easy for me to judge the people who applied for the job of Zambia Chipolopolo like him. Let me just leave it there.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to press a little bit on this because Cameroon are at the World Cup. They've qualified. They're about to take part in their campaign at the World Cup. And one of their coaches is applying for a job elsewhere at this time, when surely his focus should have been on assisting Rigobert Song as the national team coach and focusing totally on Cameroon at the World Cup. Isn't that what you'd expect from anybody within the national team setup?
Yeah, I think ethically it doesn't sound well, but also if you look at maybe his tenure, how is it? When is his contract ending? Those are the things that we have to look into. If it is about to end in 1 month's time, maybe he's also acting on safety for his on benefit. But for me, I think somebody who is going to that tournament of that magnitude, I think just on my own, I think it is not right.
Other people who applied for the Zambia job include former coaches Onajanza, who is in the final three, yourself are also in the final three, and a couple of others which were of great interest. One of them is the former coach Sven van den Broek. Do you think that it was advisable for him to have applied, given the way that he actually left Zambia and Zambian football when he was in charge?
Yeah, like I said, I'm an interested party here to comment about those people who have also applied. It's not really very good. But my only comment about him is that we never burn bridges where we're coming from. We never burn bridges where we're coming from because we never know. One day you will come back. You will need that bridge again. So if he breached the relationship with the football association and the people of Zambia, then for you to come back to start looking for a place again, I don't understand.
Well, he once famously said, Zambia is not a footballing nation. How did that make you feel, given what you had done as a player yourself and also as a coach, and the record of Zambian football, at least at international level within AFCON?
Yeah, I feel pained because I think to call Zambian nation not a footballing nation is an insult. He insulted the people of Zambia. He insulted the football association. Zambia has moved from rank 1 to highest ranks of football. We've won the AFCON. We've won the under-20 AFCON. We have moved levels. We have won the Club African Cup with the Power Dynamos. So for him to come and call us nothing, then I feel so insulted. I played football at high level in Zambia. I played high level in South Africa and for the national team. I know what it is to be a football player in Zambia. He cannot because I think he did not do a good job. I'll be blunt on that one. He did not do a good job. I left him with a better team. I built a team and left him with a better team. What did he do? He broke it away, blow it away. He is the one who has put us in the situation that we are now.
Well, he later tried to clarify it and said what he meant was the style of play. He didn't like long ball football as he sort of interpreted Zambia had been playing before. Well, two things come up from that. I mean, one, you're the coach. You can change the style of play. Why are you criticizing the former style of play? You impose the style you want to play. And secondly, it's a bit difficult to give credit to this when, if that was what you meant, why didn't you say that in the first place?
Yeah, you see, he is a coach, like you have said. He came in, he has to play his style, and he found players. Which long ball did he find? Which long ball did he find? He should watch the game against Cameroon. He should watch the game that we played against Nigeria, the game that we played against Algeria. Then let him see if he will see those long balls he's talking about. That is a fighting team. Zambia, we fight. Zambian players, they fight. We played beautiful football. And when he came, he just failed lamentably. He failed lamentably. You see, the problem of these people coming and thinking he's superior when he cannot. This is what I'm saying. Let's not look at the paper. Let's look at the knowledge. Okay, if Zambia is not a footballing nation, where did he come from? Which other club did he coach? At what level? And after Zambia, where is he? Where is he coaching? If Zambia is not footballing nation, now where has he taken his beautiful game? This is the record that we want to see.
Now, on the short list, the three, yourself, Honor Janza, who are well known within Zambian football, and the third is Avram Grant, who did certainly very well within Israeli football before he got his move to Chelsea. He did very well at Chelsea as well, even though he didn't actually win tournaments. He came second quite a bit, but it was actually quite an achievement. When he took over the team, he replaced a legend of Chelsea football. There's no way you can say Jose Mourinho is anything other than an absolute legend at Chelsea. So he had a very difficult job. He did well. He did well in Portsmouth as well. But when you look at his CV, you also see the latest job that he did within football management was at Northeast United in India's top league. And he had a win percentage of 10%. And that the record was absolutely terrible. It was really, really bad. And he then didn't work within football again. He also had a very bad spell at West Ham United. Now, I'll ask about those two first, because what do you think about this? And then I'm going to ask you about the issue, the Zambia job, because of his record with Ghana as well.
Yeah, Avram Grant, a very great coach. I've followed him. All his exploits in Europe. He's a very good coach. And I think I cannot say much because he's one of the three there. I cannot say anything. All I know is a very good coach, very good coach.
Okay. Now, the other thing is when he coached Ghana, to some, he did very well in Ghana. He reached the final. They lost on penalties. Everena's second success within the African Cup of Nations. Then the next year, they came fourth. But what was interesting was Ghanaian legend, Sami Kufuor, who wanted Grant removed because he wasn't helping to develop Ghanaian football. He wasn't going to Ghana much. He wasn't watching the Ghanaian football. He wasn't developing it. given that this is one of the criticisms within Zambian football of the last coach, Asanovic, who wasn't coming around to Zambia, he wasn't helping to develop Zambian football. Is this something that is absolutely necessary within the next coach of Zambia, that he has to be within Zambia, he has to go around and he has to develop Zambian football as well?
Yeah, the most important thing as a national coach is not about Zambia only. When you are a national coach, you stay in that nation and you have to go around and search for players. You must build the base using the local players. In Africa, we have CHAN competition. We have, in our region, we have COSAFA. So you need to build the players. You need to build a team around those players. By the time you are calling the players from Europe and other far places, you already have that philosophy of yours working on the local players. So I think it will be a disservice for a coach just to come to national team a week before an assignment or engagement. You are coming the same like a player who is coming from Chelsea or from Leicester the same week, like a FIFA date. It is not FIFA date for you. You are an employee who is a full-time. So you have to be in office. You have to be on the ground, hitting the ground. Go to the rural places, see what happens. Help the junior coaches. Help the under 20 coaches, under 23, under 17. Inspire the coaches for the women football. That is the job. So if I am going to be a national coach and then I'll be sleeping at home, I only go to the office a week before the engagement of the national team, then I'm not going to give the service to the nation.
You are currently coaching in Mozambique. Is there any reason that you chose Mozambique rather than Zambia? Because I know you were actually working within Zambia and then in Lusaka, then you left and went back to Mozambique. Are you planning to come back to Zambia with or without the national team job, or are you planning to stay in Mozambique for a bit longer?
Yeah, I think my contract ends this month end. Here, I only signed 1 year. It was a short project, and I think I've done my part. I'm going back to Zambia. Whatever comes, I think I will make a decision whilst I'm in Zambia after this.
Okay, now there is some criticism within Zambian football of recycling coaches, that the clubs will not do as well as they want. They will sack a coach. They will look for another coach from another club who's just been sacked. And there's like a merry-go-round of Zambian coaches within Zambian football. Do you think that it has now got to the point where it needs to be broken? There needs to be more stability within Zambian football, and also there need to be developing the younger coaches. And if so, how do you see that happening?
Development of coaches is there. This I can vouch for our FA. They've done so much on capacity building of coaches. Many coaches have done a lot of courses. We have done a lot of coaching courses from E license to B license to C, B, and now A. We have A in other countries, and the football association is there to help some 2, 3, 4, 5 coaches to engage the other associations so that they can give us a place. And I hear we are also on the verge of getting a slot to do the A license within our country one of these days. So I think on capacity building, the association has done a lot. And talking about recycling of coaches, it is everywhere. Clubs, teams, they want somebody who is, they've seen the track record. They've seen the track record, and then they need that somebody to come and do something. But we need also to look at these upcoming coaches, help them to be bigger coaches, because everyone starts from somewhere. So we need to give them the chance to also coach the teams. So I've seen many young coaches who have passed through my hands as players. Some have passed through my hands as my assistant coaches. I have recommended them to many clubs in Zambia. They are coaching. They are doing fine. There are many names that I can mention, but I wouldn't mention here. Yeah, that is all I can say. I think we are doing fine. We are doing fine. It is not like recycling. Coaches can go and come. Experience is needed, and also the youngsters, the young coaches are also doing fine. That is very good. They are putting more pressure and more competition. I've seen young Chisimbewe doing very well at Arrows. We have Ian Bakala doing well at Forest. We have Masao Sotembo doing well at Buffaloes. Many of them are doing well. Boyd Mulwanda, Kelvin Kaindu, Numba Mamba, they are doing fine. So these are the coaches. Most of them have passed through my hands as players, and they've passed through my hands as assistant coaches.
Where do you see yourself and Zambian football in 5 years' time? And also in 10 years' time?
I see us playing the World Cup. The next World Cup we shall play. Next World Cup finals, we shall be there. And in the next 5 years, I think we can also get to the finals of the AFCON and probably win it.
The World Cup. What do you think of Africa's performance in the World Cup? How do you see it improving, and over what time period do you think it is going to take for Africa to fulfill Pele's sort of prediction that an African team will win the World Cup, even if it's not on time?
Yeah, I think we are getting better now. I think looking at the way we are performing against the great names there, Cameroon, despite coming out of the tournament in the first round, I think they did their own justice by proving their point against Brazil, although it was too late. What we should do next is to believe in ourselves, believe in our coaches. We have coaches like Cisse. We have the coach for Morocco. We have the big coaches like Pitso Msumani. We have coaches like Ibenge. We have other coaches, including myself, the Janzas, the other coaches. Let's believe in them. Given the chance, let's build more capacity at the highest level of these coaches. And then we are also going to pull these other young coaches we are talking about. And then here we are. We have Cisse. Look at Cisse with Senegal, how many years? They've believed in him. At the beginning, the results were not coming but they had that vision that there's somewhere he's taking us. We can see something coming in. So they waited. That is what we call patience and also solution giving to the team. It is not always the solution to fire a coach. The solution is sometimes to give the patience to that to that coach. And Cisse is one biggest example, biggest evidence for us. Ibenge is won the CAF Confederation with Bekani. Pitso, he has been winning the Champions League. So let's believe in ourselves, and then we are going to get somewhere.
Lastly, you mentioned previously when we had spoken about your experiences in relation to the Gabon plane crash. I'd like you to repeat that as well, where you heard about it, how you reacted to it, and also at the end of this, the second part of this question will be that there is now a foundation having been set up to discuss and assist the survivors and the families of the Gabon plane crash. And by survivors, I obviously mean the families. Would you be interested in joining up with them and helping them to highlight the issues of the Gabon plane crash, how it affected Zambian football, and also to develop for the future so that there aren't the problems happening again to victims of disasters like Gabon.
I didn't get the first question.
The first question was your experience. Where were you when you heard about the Gabon plane crash? How did you react to it?
Okay. Oh, that was the most shocking thing that has ever happened to me. I was one of those players earmarked to join the team when after they come back from Mauritius. They played in Mauritius, and on their way back, the coach, before that, it is a long story. I was one of the players who was suspended at Power Dynamos in 1992. And the senior players, all of us were suspended for 1 season. Said, no, you have boycotted for 2 days, you have not trained. You say you are not going to Burundi for the cup, the CAF Confederation Cup. So we were suspended for 1 year in 1992. And when we started training, at that time, the calendar was January to November. So we started training in January in 1993. The national team was called into camp, and I was not part of that team that was called. But previously, I was part of the team, the former team, the KK11. So I was not called in that camp together with Linus Makwaza. They said, we are lacking match fitness. So we said, okay, thanks. Then the team was in camp. They camped in Kitwe. When they came to Kitwe for camp, we had a friendly game. It was on a Wednesday against the national team before they left for Mauritius. And I scored a goal from a free kick, passed through the greatest goalkeeper, Ifot Chalala. I scored a scorcher, and after the game, the coaches, Mr. Godfrey Chitalu, Alex Chola, they came to me and they said, Wedson, I think with Linus Makwaza, now we see you have the match fitness, you are looking good. So when we come back from, we will call you when we come back from Mauritius, you will join the team next time. I said, okay, thanks. So we were anticipating that call-up. They went, it was on Wednesday, the Thursday they went to Mauritius, they played at the weekend, they won, and they came back with the same Buffalo plane. Immediately they took off. They went headed to Senegal. On Tuesday, I went to the barber shop to have my hair cut. And whilst this guy has just started cutting my hair halfway, I just heard from the radio announcement. It was Frank Mtubira was the one who was announcing every 15 minutes. And I just announced that the national team has perished. First of all, I thought it is just something else. I continued. Then another 15 minutes, another announcement. Then I asked the guy, I said, what is this they are saying? He said, no, this has been happening since morning. They have been announcing. So you don't know. I said, I don't know, what is this? I couldn't put 1 to 2. Then I sat and said, let me listen to it. Then another 15 minutes, he announced. I just left my hair halfway cut. I left that chair of the barber shop and went home. I was so confused. When I arrived home, I found the wives of late Watiakeni and the wife of Winter Mumba. They were at my place. Morning. Then I said, what is happening? So they started asking me, Mr. Nyirenda, is this true? Because they were also in shock. Then I said, no, I don't know exactly. Let me go to the club and ask what is happening. So they said, no, we are going together. I said, no, I'll find you. So everyone was gathered at my place, being one of the senior players. And then I left for the clubhouse. I went to the clubhouse. I found other players there, and we started mourning, all of us there. I couldn't even go back home. The women had to follow us to the clubhouse because the houses were near to the club there at Arthur Davis. They followed us there, and then it was something else. And that was the most shocking thing in my life that I've had. And I've never really recovered from that shock, because every time that date comes, 28th, great memories come of our great players, our friends who were brothers. And the second question, if that foundation is there, I think I would like to be part of it, because I'm part of that family that is believed.
Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Oh, not really. I think I would like to say thank you for this interview. It has been a pleasure for me, and thank you very much. Till next time.